Toy Story is one of the most important animated movies ever made, but almost nobody knows that all 5 movies have several deleted scenes. Are you ready to find out how Woody and Buzz's movies were originally different? Old Emily. One thing that was going to happen in Toy Story 5 but ended up being deleted was the emotional reunion between Jessie and Emily. This would have happened because, just like in the story, Jessie would be taken back to the former home of her first owner. The reunion would have been accidental, but Emily would already be elderly, with children and grandchildren. Jessie would discover that her first owner is now a grandmother, and Emily would introduce her old doll to her granddaughter. Because of that, Jessie would leave as well and would no longer be one of Bonnie's toys, staying instead with Emily's granddaughter. This was cut and replaced by the scene where Jessie finds the box belonging to Emily's daughter because Pixar felt it was better to keep Jessie as Buzz's partner. But we still have the concept art showing an older version of Emily. Pretty cool to learn these details, right? And there are 20 more to show you right now. It's time to have fun with us in another Cinewave.
I think you dropped something, mister.
Jessie!
Conversation. In Toy Story 1, when Woody and Buzz are trapped in Sid's room, there's an emotional conversation that was deleted from the movie. In it, Buzz and Woody are both incredibly sad. Buzz because he has discovered that he's a toy, and Woody because he has accepted that Buzz is Andy's new favorite toy. The two reconcile as friends after understanding each other's pain. Part of this scene still exists in the version that made it to theaters, but it was removed for a couple of reasons. The first is that it was simply too long for a movie that Pixar wasn't even sure would succeed. The second reason is that the villain Sid was sleeping during the scene, and he looked like he was lying in a very strange position for someone who was asleep. It was a little unsettling to watch, so the scene was sacrificed. Violence. Still inside Sid's room, do you remember the scene where he uses a magnifying glass on Woody's face to burn his forehead? Well, there was an earlier moment where Sid tied Buzz's legs to a power drill and turned it on to make the Space Ranger dizzy. This scene was removed because it was considered too violent, showing a child mistreating a simple toy. Different. A very different version of Toy Story was originally going to be released in theaters, where Woody would have been the villain and Buzz would have been a much smaller toy compared to him. The deleted scenes show the cowboy as a ragdoll puppet, while Buzz would have worn red armor. This entire version of the first movie was deleted because Disney didn't like the original idea. Shakes. In Toy Story 1, there would have been an old toy in Andy's room who would tell the newer toys about the day Andy got rid of a rattle named Shakes. This toy would explain that everyone else was too new to remember, but when Andy was younger, he had already gotten rid of other toys, and poor Shakes was the first one to be sent away. Window. You know that in the version that made it to theaters, Woody tries to knock Buzz behind the desk because he's afraid Andy will take the Space Ranger to Pizza Planet. It ends up being an accident and Buzz falls out the window, but in the original version, Woody would have been a mean toy. He would have thrown Buzz out the window on purpose, and because of that, the other toys would have turned against him. Would you like to see Woody as a villain in a Disney movie? Comment the hashtag Pixar so we can get to know you. Nightmare. There would have been a moment where Woody dreamed, or rather had a nightmare, where Andy was playing with Buzz and praising his new toy for being able to fly and glow in the dark. Andy would become upset because Woody couldn't do any of those things and would throw Woody away. The scene was considered too intense to be included in the movie, which is why it was deleted. Crib. Right after the nightmare scene, Woody would come up with a plan to get Buzz into Andy's little sister's crib. His plan was to have the baby destroy the toy, since very young children don't take care of things. But the cowboy's plan goes wrong, and he ends up trapped by his own scheme. The scene was deleted because the idea of making Woody a villain simply wasn't working. Opening one. There would also have been an alternate opening for the movie, where an action-packed cartoon would show Buzz fighting Zurg, and at the end, reveal that Andy was watching the show on television and deciding that he needed to have a Buzz Lightyear toy. Opening 2. There is also another alternate opening where Andy is pretending to be an Old West cowboy and Woody is his arch enemy. The two are having a duel and Woody loses. Traffic. Moving on to Toy Story 2, there was going to be a scene where Buzz would lead the other toys to the apartment of the villain Al McWiggin, but they would have to cross a street and use traffic cones to do it. The problem is that this would have caused a series of accidents on the road, and it wouldn't have made any sense because everyone would have seen the cones moving. Dinosaur. There was also going to be a scene where Rex would be used as the villain toy, but only during a game. In this case, he would attack a cardboard city as if he were Godzilla. The game would go wrong, and because of that, Woody would suffer an accident and then be thrown out of Andy's room. This would have been the scene right before before Buzz is kidnapped by the villain, but the scene was removed because it wasn't considered very entertaining.
Wanna keep having fun with us? Then subscribe and turn on the notification bell.
Removed. There is a scene that was deleted after Toy Story 2 was released in theaters. Back then, people who saw the movie got to watch it, but today it can only be found online because Disney removed the scene of Stinky Pete talking to the Barbies inside the toy box. He is promising them an important role in Toy Story 3, and the problem with the scene is that many people understood it as Pete asking the Barbie dolls for kisses in exchange for a role in the next movie, and that's very wrong. Disney understood the issue with the scene and removed that part. Memory. The scene where Jessie tells Woody about Emily would have been completely different in Toy Story 2. She would tell the cowboy about the girl, but unlike in the movie, it wouldn't be told through a song, which is now incredibly famous, and Jessie wouldn't be lying under the bed. Instead, she would be inside a box in the closet. The scene was storyboarded, but it was deleted from the final version. Molly. You know that Andy has a sister named Molly. By the third movie, she is already a little older, but still young enough to play with toys. When all the toys are afraid of being thrown away, Woody suggests to his friends that they could stay with Molly. The deleted scene shows her dancing around them because all she wants is an audience, not to actually play with them. The scene was removed because Bonnie was meant to be the toys' future, not Molly. Did you like that idea? Trash. You know that in Toy Story 3, there's a scene where Andy calls the toys old, but the deleted version is much sadder. Andy calls his old toys junk. His mom asks if he's going to take any toys with him to college, but he says no. Then he looks at Buzz and Woody and chooses the cowboy. In this same scene, Buzz looks shocked when he realizes that Andy chose to keep Woody. The scene was deleted because calling the toys junk was pretty harsh and doesn't really fit Andy's character. Books. You know that many times throughout Toy Story, whenever a child is playing, we get to see their imagination. One example would be a scene from the fourth movie where Bonnie is playing with Woody inside a grocery store. In this scene, the toys would be living their normal lives until an army of flying monstrous books attacked everyone. Then the grocery store would transform into a spaceship and everyone would fight in a huge battle. Just describing it sounds crazy, but it was all part of Bonnie's imagination. The scene was deleted because in the version that made it to theaters, Woody would eventually have to leave, and he never would have done that if Bonnie still loved playing with him. The goodbye. In Toy Story 4, the director's original idea was for Bo Peep to find a little girl and feel that she should become her new owner. Because of that, the doll would say goodbye to Woody forever. The cowboy would understand and let her leave for good. Their final hug would have them both saying that they belong to each other in an eternal declaration of love, and then Bo Peep would find her new owner while Woody returned to Bonnie. The scene was storyboarded, but it was removed because the director felt that Woody wasn't really growing as a character in that version of the story. The movie changed, and the ending that made it to theaters shows the couple staying together because Woody and his girlfriend deserve to be happy.
Casino. Do you remember that Woody and Bo Peep reunite at a playground in Toy Story 4? Well, in the deleted scene, things would have been very different. Woody would lose his hat somewhere in the town where the story takes place. He would go searching for it and discover a toy casino where toys played games with one another. Bo Peep would be inside that casino, and the couple would reunite there. The funny part is that she would be cheating at the game, and because of that, they would have to run away from a group of angry toys chasing them. The scene changed because the creative team realized that the toy casino was pulling the story away from the emotional growth of the characters. Because of that, the antique store where Gabby Gabby serves as the villain became the main setting. In other words, once the casino was removed, the reunion scene between the couple was cut as well. And finally, there is one more scene that was removed from Toy Story 4. You probably remember that Buzz ends up at a toy booth during a street fair, the same place where he meets the carnival prizes. The booth has an owner, but the deleted scene shows Buzz punching that character in the face in order to free the other toys that were trapped inside the booth. That scene would have been really funny to see in theaters, but even without it, Toy Story is still an incredibly fun animated movie. And if you want to learn more about the world of animation, be sure to stick with us. The next step is right in front of you. 2 fun-filled videos waiting for your click. Thanks, and see you soon.